I'm Shane White, and this is The Process.
Hey gang, Shane Patrick White here with another edition of The Process. On today's Rare Book Tour, we're going to look at some books illustrated by the great illustrator Dean Cornwell. I know I've already covered one of Dean Cornwell's books, the Dean of Illustrators, but I snagged the 2-volume copy of The Man of Galilee and The City of the Great King from the rare book dealer Stuart Ing Books out of California. Not being a particularly religious person, great art usually trumps my worldview, and these two books are no exception. The books themselves are beautifully crafted with each color tipped in plate. What I didn't cover in the first book about Dean Cornwell was why I like the man's work so much. He was the first person to introduce me to the idea of reinforcing negative shapes. If you look at his pieces, the figures are almost like islands unto themselves. I think his studying with the great muralist Frank Brangwyn may have influenced him in this direction. You see, even more so in Dean's murals, where the figures and composition becomes almost graphic, Dean's work was so balanced in terms of value that in most cases, even though the final reproduction would be in black and white, he'd still paint the picture in full color. His composition evoked a strong storytelling component that was emotionally charged. His strong use of lighting and staging felt like you were witnessing a play. And his color palette was methodical with great understanding of warms and cools. By far, though, I love his draftsmanship and brush calligraphy, something that seemed to power through all his work from sketches to color roughs to the final piece itself. I've been lucky enough to see many originals at Illustration House in New York City, and they are a sight to behold. My favorite among them are the Captain Blood paintings. Back in 2005, I visited Illustration House for, East Coast bachelor party. The idea was that 4 of my friends and I would go and see as much illustration and art as we could. So I think the main reason why we had gone was that there was a Robert Peake show at the Society of Illustrators. We also did a side journey onto Spring Street, if I remember correctly, to Illustration House. There we were able to talk to, I believe, Walt Reed, the curator of the Illustration House. And I should say the late Walt Reed because he's not alive anymore. But he actually showed us a bunch of paintings that had not been hung up yet for the upcoming auction. And one of those was a Dean Cornwell Captain Blood painting that was a prelim for the final painting. And the prelim itself was huge, and it looked amazing. And in that, somebody had already purchased it. Otherwise, I think when I asked the price, he did not want to disclose it. So I can only imagine it was in the thousands of dollars. Well, anyways, I hope you enjoyed the tour. And hey, if you like the channel, please subscribe today. And as always, thanks for watching.